Hi guys, this is Juno and welcome back to another Summoner's War video. Today is going to be a special video and I'm going to be showing you some of the runes that I have that are really efficient. And while I'm showing them to you guys, I'll be talking about how I keep runes and how I sell runes and how the standard differs between rune sets. I hope you guys stay tuned. I know a lot of people send me DMs or private messages regarding this topic, so I hope that this helps the overall community who have the same question. So let's get right into it. Hey guys, before we start the video, if you guys are interested in getting advice and help from me and other Summoners War players, feel free to join my Discord, where the link is in the descriptions below. Also, if you enjoy my content and want to support me, become a Patreon, where the link for it is also in the descriptions. I want to say I appreciate all the support, and believe me, I really do. Anyways, that was it. Let's get back to the video. So all the runes that I'm going to show in this video, I'm not going to show too much. I think I'm going to show maybe 10 or less than 10. But all of these runes have a efficiency of 120 and higher. And they're not all violent or will runes. Actually, they're not much violent and will runes. But it will be a good example to show and explain how I determine which runes to keep and which runes to sell. So let's start with the very first one. I'll try to start from the lower to highest. So the first rune that I'm going to show is a Nemesis Rune. So this is the first rune that I'm showing, and it's an ancient rune. Everybody probably knows ancient runes have higher base stats, and also the rolls can be higher from the grinds. So the overall efficiency of the rune is going to be higher than regular runes. These days there are a lot of runes that I speed chase, but the following PvP runes are not that. So as you progress into the game, you use less of energy runes. You use less of, let's say, determination or enhanced runes, which are rarely used. You use less of blade runes. You use less of endure runes, focus runes, guard runes. So for these runes, I tend to speed chase more than being efficient. But for other PvP related runes, such as vampire runes, nemesis runes that you see right here, will runes, violent runes, not rage runes, because rage runes you only really care about damage, despair runes, I tend to be more efficient, and that tends to be being more lenient toward these runes on how I keep them. So for example, the first runes I talked about, the energy, guard, focus runes that you don't use later on, if they don't roll, let's say, triple into speed, then I don't keep it. If they don't have speed in the first place, I don't keep it. But for these other runes that I talked later, the Nemesis runes, the Vampire runes, the Violent Will runes, even if they don't have speed, if they have the synergizing stats, the percentage stats, such as HP, attack, and defense, if they roll high into one of those stats, I tend to keep. And this one is a very good example of that. So this was a legend rune, and you can see it started with the base 10, I believe, and I think it triple rolled into defense, and whatever this speed had got a roll. It was probably like a flat something, but I felt like I wanted this in a gong or maybe even a Bonley that I get later on if I ever do. So I gemmed in the speed because the HP and defense obviously synergize, and now it became one of my most efficient runes. 15 speed isn't that fast, but 38 defense is pretty high for a rune. Also, due to the fact that it's an ancient rune, you can get a higher grind on, which you can see right here. I put in a legend HP grind and I got plus 11, which I was very lucky to get. So overall, the efficiency of this rune is 120%, 120.54, and that makes it a very efficient rune. I can even make it higher. Obviously, if I get a legend gem here, 42%, right? If it's plus 12. And if I get another 1% here, it will be actually 20%. Overall, the rune will become much more prettier, much more beautiful. But is it worth to grind that for that 1%? The legend grind I probably will do if I get one, because I think that's worth, but the HP grind probably not. Next rune is a revenge rune, also a good example on a rune where I think of efficiency more rather than just speed, and it's not an ancient rune, and it's on the Fuki. So this one is another rune that has a lot of everything, and you can see that right here. First of all, it has an innate. If your rune has an innate, it is bound to be more efficient than the regular runes, because assuming that they're the same base, they're both legend runes, but one has an innate and one doesn't, obviously the one with the innate is almost bound to have the higher efficiency if it just rolls well. So if you look at this, another legend runes will obviously have more efficient stats because you get an additional roll. I don't know if there's any runes out here that I'm going to showcase that are not legend, but we'll see. But from here you can see that I gemmed in a HP gem, and I think it was a hero gem, max HP, and then legend grinds all around. I do believe I will try to get a legend grind here later when I don't have other runes to do it. I do have one right now, but I don't feel like doing it. But I will definitely go for a legend grind on this attack, and maybe a legend grind on this defense, but it'll be more of a later priority. The attack will definitely be a first priority because I think 32 attack is different from 29%. And this efficiency right here is 120.83. So again, not a very fast rune, right? Only plus 13, but it has most of everything, and it goes really well with Fuki, or let's say the Antares, if you don't need that, because Antares doesn't need that much crit rate. Maybe you get crit rate from all your other runes, and this rune will bring in all the extra stats. But some people might say it's not good for Antares either because it has speed. Some people don't like Antares with speed because he has a passive. Why does he have speed? And I know that some people actually like Antares on like plus 80, plus 90, or 200 speed, so he actually still takes a turn while proccing at the same time. Now, the next rune is a rune that I'm not using. I was much more strict on this set, and it's the accuracy rune, and this rune is a slot 3, which also has 120.83%, which is this rune right here. So this rune is also pretty good. I think it has a 110 plus efficiency, but this is the rune that we're going to talk about. Again, a very tanky rune with an innate 7% crit damage, and you can see that again I gemmed in speed. Probably another legend rune. Yes, it is. It isn't high as before. You see that a roll got split, so 2 rolls went into HP, I believe, or maybe 3, I'm not exactly sure. 2 rolls at least went into HP, and then 1 roll went into defense. I don't know if that accuracy took a roll or the stat that was on the place of speed took a roll, but because I believed that this was a supporter rune, and for a support unit, I believe that speed is most likely needed. In most cases, I gemmed in the speed. I might have been hasty on this. Maybe it wasn't a good thing to do. Maybe something of flat HP, flat defense, or even resistance would have been better, but I just felt like the speed could go well. But I think overall it's a very efficient rune. I think there will be a unit that will benefit from this. I mean, I can even put it on like a galleon later on if I want to. And this one was also on 120.83% efficiency. Now the next one is on a guard set. So this is the set, again another in a rune that has an innate, probably another legend due to this fact that it has a very high speed. Well, 24 speed is not very high, but still it's pretty high. And you can see it's legend, and from this I pretty much put legend grinds everywhere. I put a legend gem. I just need the legend grinds for these two, and I can make it even more efficient. This one is a rare case where I was speed chasing and I did get 20 speed. Sadly, it was a pretty low triple roll, but still happy with it. And overall, the rune itself became very, very efficient. And this one has an efficiency of 121%, 13. Next is a shield rune. So you could see that a lot of these runes that I'm showing right now are efficient but not speed chasing. The one rune, the first rune that was a guard rune that I said is outside what I usually don't speed chase, and I do speed chase, had a lot of speed and it was efficient, right? So that's just my thought process. That's how I determine which runes to keep and which runes to sell. You saw that the Nemesis Revenge runes didn't have much speed, but the guard rune does have speed. And the accuracy rune also is usually a speed chasing rune, but it was just too efficient to kind of ignore, and I wanted to use those grinds because I was getting too many of them from Melonia, so I just made that rune. This one's on Mina, is a crit damage rune. which you see right here, also a very high speed rune. I think another set that is used less and less as you progress into the game. So you can see that it has a very high speed. And then overall, everything else turned to be very efficient due to the high attack, high HP, high defense, made it a very efficient rune. I gave it legend grinds because these were just keep popping up. I didn't have any more efficient rune to use it on, so this is how it looks right now. Should I try to go for a legend gem and a legend grind? Maybe, if I even have more of these later on. But for now, I think I'll keep it as is. You can see that these are just piling up. If I get a better shield rune, I'll work on that one. But like this rune, you could say that it's done. You'll never touch it again in most cases, unless you have like tens and tens of legend grinds and legend gems. This rune is like a done rune. Same for the other runes that I showed. They're really just missing like 1% more from like a stat, and at that point I think you're giving up too much of a grind for what you can gain from it. So I'll just move on to the next rune. The next rune is a different one. It's finally a will rune. Sadly, I don't have any violent runes that have 120 plus efficiency, but thankfully I have one here, and it's another crit damage rune. This one does not have an innate, but it's still very efficient, and it looks like this. I believe this was a event rune. It was an event rune, and thankfully it was very efficient. Sadly, I didn't get all the rolls that I want, but you can see that I slapped all these legend grinds on it, and here we go. I think it's worth to go for this, so I'm gonna go for it. Please, +5, give it to me. Do I have to go for it again? Please, for the video, give me +5, please. Give it to me. Yes, we got it. Okay, I think that was worth. I think I'll still try and give it another legend grind on the defense percentage, and I'll be happy. But this is a very efficient rune. It was 122%. 122.32 without an innate, but I could update my current value because it's now 28 speed, and we will see that it's now 123.51%. Very efficient rune, very pretty, probably one of the best runes I have. So this was a little different from the other runes because it's a will rune that I don't really chase speed, but it has the speed, and it is because it was a event rune. There are the special conditions that where you could have gotten some nice runes, and I feel really bad for the players that didn't get to do that event or missed it. It's your loss. I mean, you weren't playing, so there isn't much that you could say, but sad nonetheless. Next one is another Nemesis Rune. Again, a rune with a lot of stats, another legend rune. I'm missing a lot of stats. This is an ancient rune, meaning I could even get more stats. I could get 4% more on defense, 3% more on attack, and 3% more on HP, and +1 and speed, but I'm not gonna go for it because that's a legend grind for speed, and I don't think it's worth. Assuming we get all those grinds, currently the Miho also has a 123.51% efficiency, this Nemesis rune, but if we get all the stats like we want, like I just stated, we'll be at 132%. But that's only if I do get the grinds, and I assume that they're all legend. You'll probably not get that. 123 is still a pretty damn good rune. I have another will rune that's really high in efficiency, and it's on the Wind Panda, which you see right here. Another legend rune with an innate accuracy. Some people might say, hey, you should have re-upped this more and chase speed. I don't know. It's a will rune. You don't have to chase speed, and you can see that right here. It has 40% defense, and I could get 2% more actually. 20% HP, it has resistance, and it has a speed because I grinded into it. I know a lot of people just love to show 32 speed, 35 speed runes, and I know that those runes are also awesome, but having efficient runes like this is definitely a keeper. Everything synergizes. There's really no wasted stats. I mean, there's wasted stats in rolls, but I mean, they're also used well together, complement each other. There's nothing to throw away from this rune right here. Okay, another rune that's very efficient that I don't use, so I didn't speed chase. That is another accuracy rune. It is on a Borgnine that I don't use. I just put these runes on him. It looks like this. Holy crap, look at those stats. This one does not have an innate, but it's a legend rune, and overall I slapped all these legend grinds. I'm really sad that I didn't get a higher attack percentager, but I just didn't have it. So it's a waste on my side. But in my head, I was like, who the heck is going to use this anyways? So I just slapped all these grinds. And overall, it looks pretty crazy. It literally looks pretty crazy, but I am missing 4% because if this was a legend grind max, it'll be 13. So I'm missing 4, missing 1. Total, I'm missing 5%, 6 because speed could be +1 as well. This one has a 130% efficiency. If it had an innate, imagine how efficient this would be. And then finally, my most efficient rune that I showcased multiple times, I haven't put it on Reddit, is my Endure rune that's on the Kinky. So another ancient legend rune with accuracy, innate, which allows that crazy efficiency. You can see that I gave it legend grind right there. That's a legend gem and a legend grind speed. Again, a rune that I'm probably only going to speed chase later on. So I still have another legend grind. So please don't, go too crazy on me for that. I know some people will be like, why did you put a legend grind on the +11? Come on. But it was just a rune that I wanted to perfect. That's how I play the game. If there's a rune that's really efficient and that's really good in my opinion, I want to perfect the rune before I move on to the next. So you can see that I gave it a legend grind here for attack, defense, and HP, which allows it to finally the highest efficient rune in my box at 134.52%. Those are my top 10 runes, top 10 most efficient runes that I have. Out of the 10 runes, 6 of them was ancient legend. Well, it was an ancient rune. They're all legend runes, so you could see the difference of efficiency from a hero rune and a legend rune. In the 120 mark, it's really hard to find a hero rune that has over 120 efficiency. I didn't just look for speed. I looked at the overall efficiency of the rune, and if it like tripled or quad rolled into one stat, and all the other remaining stats are like synergizing stats. For example, the Wind Panda, the Feng Yan stat that I showed. So when you see this rune, when I saw that it triple rolled into defense and it single rolled into resistance, I was like, this could be a really efficient rune. So I kept it, I gemmed it, I grinded it, and now it's one of the most tanky efficient runes that I have on the wheel set. So that's how I look at in perfecting a rune, in keeping a rune. And as you progress, I think you'll do this more and more. Like I said, the energy runes, the guard runes, the shield runes, even the accuracy, determination, whatever those runes that you have, you're going to be more speed chasing because they're used less and less as you progress. But for violent, will, nemesis, vampire, vampire, those sets, you will be looking for the most efficient rune. And there are a couple runes that I keep messing up, but Blade, Fatal, and Rage sets, those are different because these particular runes are specifically used on damage dealers, in your regular arena damage dealers, and they don't have to be efficient, they just have to be really synergizing in damage stats so that you could hit the hardest as you can. So those are a totally different thing. Sometimes you even need speed on them. You only look for attack, crit damage, and crit rate, flat attack. Those are the only stats you look at. I think overall I have 69 runes that have over 110% efficiency. And again, most of these runes are probably not even grinded to their max potential. So there's still around 50 runes that I have to work on. Yeah, it just tells you the game is an unlimited grind. If you're speed chasing, that's great. I mean, that's for you. I do sometimes speed chase, especially on the Swift sets, but it does feel a lot better to be farming MB12 or DB12 and looking at those violet runes because you have more excitement knowing that the rune could be more than just a speed rune. But that was it, guys. Hope this helped, and if there's anything else that you guys would like to see in Summoners War, please put a comment below. If you guys enjoyed the video, please smash that like button, make it blue, and subscribe. That's one of the few ways that you could help me out. And yeah, I hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye.